Greetings! Welcome to the devlog for update 91 of Hot Dogs, Horseshoes, and Hand Grenades. We're going to start off as always with a quick sound check. Make sure speakers aren't up too high. Wonderful! What have we got here? Well, we've got the first of our holiday weekend toys. That's right, this weekend is America Day. And to start things out, we've got a new original creation by Pi Savvy that we have dubbed the Soundcheck. That's right, it is a TF2 style chunky 1911. Let's check out that mag there. Firing 52 automatic meaty pistol. Whap! Let's take some more shots. Has quite a bit of punch in it. I am absolutely, positively a fan. And it is also appropriately loud. Let us pull out. It's got a standard FMJ cartridge, but it also has an alternate cartridge, Jacketed Hollow Patriot, which is our red, white, and blue flechette. Quite pretty as well. Oh, that was me dropping my mag accidentally. Whoops. What can I say? I was just distracted by the light show. Boop. I think a little bit of that is ricocheting back at us. That's not good. Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. So that is the first of our new toys. Let us take a look at the next one. Back in a little more grounded, back in reality, I figured what would be appropriate for this week would be to do something a bit historical. A number of folks in the Discord have probably shouted this one out as a guess after I hinted at what the cartridge was, but we have the rolling block rifle, finally, courtesy of Stefan. This was chambered in everything under the sun over the course of its use, because it is this, simple one-shot breech loading weapon. This version of it is chambered in 8 by 50 meter label. Close that there. Take a shot. Bap. Oh, that was higher than I expected it to be. Boo! I should check the chamber parameters on this. I might still have this marked a little. Oh, that's weird. Those don't seem to match up. That's a bug. Yep, that is not updating. Ah, there we go. Just needed to actually reset the sets. Whoops. There we go. You can see how Anton's a little out of it today. Wow. Man, you are being a pain, aren't you? Begin new set. There we go. Have I discovered a bug? Let's see. Nope. I just not hitting the correct buttons. Oh, a little discombobulated today. Oh well, we got pretty guns. It's no worries. Whap. So, in addition to that, we actually have a second model of it. The fairly rare rolling block long range Creedmoor. Look at that. This model's by Florian Newman. This one is chambered in 4570. This goes at breech, and now this uses in real life a sort of an aperture sight on the back, which these don't behave the way they do in real life in VR because we're looking at a fixed focal plane. And so what I've done is I've actually made the rear aperture larger so that you can sort of center the entire front sight circle in it, which should hopefully render this actually aimable on all HMDs. You know what? Let's actually let's give ourselves a little more of a challenge. Let's watch Anton embarrass himself here. All right, here we go. Oh, 10. Nice, nice. We have redeemed ourselves. And to go with this, I have, now that once I actually had a properly scaled rolling block for reference, I was able to fix the incorrect scaling on our rolling block pistol, which was a bit too small. And by a bit too small, I actually mean a lot too small. But now it's actually correct. Oh, this is where I'm going to embarrass myself here. Ah, 6. Was I high or low on that? Ah, I was high. Let's try one more. Ah, still high. Anywho, one other thing that's important to note about the controls for these is that these were frustrating to use for many people because I didn't communicate well that it was sort of a swipe drag. It's now just a click. Lower half to advance it open, upper half to advance it shut, which should hopefully make these a lot smoother and easier to operate. Come on, third tries, a charm. Oh, so close, but so far. Still, respectable. Respectable. Cool, let us jump over to the proving ground to take a look at another new toy we've got for you this week. So, we are over in the proving ground, and to go with our new Soundcheck pistol, we have got some new soldier-related kit for you folks to play with. To start off, we'll do the sort of simplest thing, which is the soldier has gotten a grenade, this classic-looking frag. Let's throw that at the snipers.
It's actually not.
Sorry, I cut you off and, well, apart there. Anyway, so we've got that. We've got our frag grenade. But more exciting is I've got some fun alternate ammos for you folk for the rocket launcher, which switch up a bunch of things for it. We're going to test a couple of them indoors here, and then I'll show you the other two outdoors. So the first one I want to show you is this one here. This is Penny's Prime Meat and Cuts. This is our canned meat rocket, which is basically a frag rocket. So if you watch carefully when this detonates, you'll notice that instead of having a really, really large sort of radius damage, it does its damage more via projectiles. Wham! Whole bunch of them, so make sure not to be too close when this one goes off. Helps to actually aim at your target. Oh! Wow. This is not my day.
Without breaking some sausages.
Wham. Ah, that did not do as much damage as I had hoped. Come on. Let's get him. There we go. That's better. Moving right along, we have the Rocket Pop, which is themed after if any of you haven't seen this, this is what this is based on. This is themed after a absolutely classic Frozen treat. That is, of course, this being America, we would turn up an exploding rocket into a kid's treat. Let's not dwell too much on that. But this actually is has a status effect that I have added. I'm still tweaking it for the SO6. That is actually a freezing effect, which to see that in action, let's actually activate these. Commands. Set behavior to wander. Select all. And There we go. So these will just wander, but if you notice, if I freeze them, we get this cool little icy effect, and pretty much everything about this Sosig, while it's frozen, has been slowed down. It thinks slower, it moves slower, it turns slower, and it even moves weapons in its hands and aims slower, which was, because I didn't plan this out ahead of time, surprisingly difficult to do. It also modifies the way it receives damage. So basically what ends up happening is that while frozen, they are significantly more resistant to piercing and cutting damage, and way more vulnerable to blunt damage. So that's that rocket. Let's come over here. And now for what might be the meanest rocket. This is the Rock-It, which is basically a bunch of rocks that have been taped to the front of a firework. And the way to think about this rocket is it's sort of like a shaped charge that flies through the air. So if we get about the right distance from this fella here...
No regrets.
Oh! Little too close. It will fly through the air about 8 meters or so and then detonate, firing off a whole bunch of submunitions. If it hits something beforehand...
My dogs are killing me.
Ooh, it just cuts them in half.
Good times.
Ooh, that must have hit us. Oh, bled out. So what this is, the way to think about this is, in certain ways, it's sort of like a super buckshot rocket. You'll also notice it has a less intense sound because it isn't a sort of full-blown rocket, it's a short-range one, which means you can actually fire them faster. Ooh, that's actually, let's let it bounce. We can really see the submunitions. Just to really show where this is most effective, let's spawn ourselves a whole bunch of hapless scouts here. In a sense, I wanted to have an alternate ammo type that the soldier could more reliably use indoors without fragging their own teammates. And what makes this rocket so effective at that is that it's truly only detonating in a sort of cone-forward way. So as long as you don't fire it in front of your own teammates...
Don't you ever grill me again.
Oof.
The vibe is falling. Stick a fork in me.
As you can see,
Stick a fork in me.
quite effective. I almost feel bad for this one.
See you soon, Ma.
Super fun. All right, let's jump out to the Arizona range so I can show you the other two alternate rockets I decided to make up for this sucker. So we're out here in the Arizona range. I also wanted to mention that I have implemented a change in the item spawner as I'm sort of growing these alternate Meat Fortress items to make it so that the subcategories under this category are no longer like primary, secondary, nade, etc., but are instead grouped by class, and then there's a category here for items that are sort of generic and apply to either all or a whole bunch of classes. So anyway, let's get ourselves our rocket launcher again, and let's spawn the other two ammos that we have here. One is designed for those of you who just enjoy rocket jumping a bunch. This is called To the Moon. It is a nice classic retro looking rocket, and you will notice it fires very fast velocity wise, and the reason for that is that this is designed specifically for rocket jumping. Whew, haven't done this in a while. My tummy! We got get about 50% more velocity off of it. And missed that up. And because it fires really fast, it becomes easier to time when it hits the ground for a bunch of things. There we go. Oh dear, I think we're gonna go out of the map. And beyond that one, I know a number of you have been asking me for a long time for a mortar. And I don't really have a mortar for you yet. But I do have a mortar shell, which is exactly the sort of thing that a soldier would load into their rocket launcher anyway. This is called wrong ammo, and also can fire rapidly like our rocket. And we get a cool haha, quite fun for long-range bombardment, especially high angle. Haha, wonderful. We can still get some decent range on it too. Better than that. There we go. That's about 200 meters or so. So, I hope you have fun playing with these. Haha. The last other thing I really wanted to show you folks is that I rescaled the P612. This was super off. When I got the model, I sort of scaled it relative to fitting cartridges into the cylinder without like going like, oh, I wonder if the 3D artist who did that had that correct at all. And the answer was no. This was so far off, it was comical. But it now actually feels correct to hold. Let's get, there we go, much better. Wonderful. So there you have it. Anywho, let's jump out of VR, talk about what else is in this update. Yo! So, I hope that stuff has got you excited. In terms of other stuff in this update, there's just a couple other important sort of line items. I fixed a couple different bugs involving the revolving shotguns. They would you could get sort of phantom shells loading in partially empty cylinders. That's been fixed. Their triggers actually animate correctly. Whoops! The OG paper target is now the default again and accessible correctly with the paper target. I dragged the splatter on there to test it and had forgotten to revert that after testing it. The G11 tac mount now spawns correctly with the Picatinny sight, and there were a couple other sort of metadata errors related to take and hold and sight spawning that have been fixed. And then lastly, of course, I finally got sorry about the like, hey, here's the new slide bolting feature. Oh, it's broken. So it was just like a simple like Boolean logic error. It was something I was coding at the last minute just before doing the update. I put an and where there should have been an or. But it should now work. So please let me know if somehow I broke it again in between fixing it this week and now. So that shouldn't have been the case, but what can I say? It's been one of those days, so I wouldn't be surprised. Anywho, I hope you all have a safe holiday weekend. Stay at home, please. And if you do need to go out for anything, wear a mask. And such, but otherwise just stay safe and healthy. And I'll see you all next week. Peace.